Greetings, people of Earth. Welcome back. My name is Jax, and today we are talking about chapter 34, the Pervasive Dao of the Dao De Ching. And I think I want to read it first, and then we'll get into it. The Pervasive Dao. I will show you what it looks like. Beautiful book, by the way. I can't get over how beautiful it is. Here we go. The Pervasive Dao. How pervasive is the Dao? Left and right are the same to it. The whole of creation relies on it to grow, and it never refuses. It claims no credit for what it accomplishes. It clothes and feeds, but exerts no control. Eternally without desire, in this respect, it may be called small. All things return to it, but it exerts no control. In this respect, it may be called great. Because it places no insistence on its greatness, greatness is truly what it achieves. This basically is a metaphorical understanding of the Tao and also how we should live our lives. So a Daoist needs to understand that they almost have to take their hands off the wheel and understand that it will be what it will be. There's a million little sayings and go with the flow, leave no marks in the sand. And essentially it is trying to make us understand that the Tao is going to work its way whether we like it or not. That doesn't mean we have to give up our independent choices, but it does mean we have to accept that what happens is going to happen, and it always was and it always will be. The Tao doesn't really care about your belief in anything. It doesn't care about how you really want something to work out. And it takes no credit for it either. That's the other big part of this, is that the Tao is not looking for recognition. It's not looking for honor. It's not looking to be placed on this high pedestal and worshipped. It's a thing that exists. It clothes the universe. It feeds us all. And recognizing that there's a sense of humility and acceptance in being a Daoist, in being someone who is trying to understand this ununderstandably powerful force. We don't really have a choice whether you're a Daoist or not. We don't really have a choice in how it's going to shape out. And again, that is no justification for deciding to quit everything and say, well, it all gets sorted out. But it's this understanding that I am just a leaf drifting in the current, and whether I end up getting caught up on a rock or flowing all the way to the ocean, these are factors that I can't truly manipulate. And I take no credit, I take no claim, I take no glory. I am who I am, and I let the Tao unfold the way it's always meant to unfold. So, like I said, it's kind of taking your hand off of the steering wheel and understanding that you will move where you are meant to move. And I know this is kind of a wishy-washy, difficult concept to understand, but when you're a fish going through the water, do you really appreciate and see the water? Or is that just the substance that you are all surrounded by? And you are the Tao, the water is the Tao. It's a thing that just exists. And it's really easy to become despondent and to just say, well, these things are these things, and what can I do? But it's not really advocating for that. It's kind of advocating for you to take the ego out of it, because when you say something like that, you're kind of meaning it in a snarky, subversive kind of way, and you're sort of saying, well, I can't do anything. But that's your ego talking. You know that you have agency. You know that you have an ability to reach for a goal or to make daily progress with what you would like to achieve. But you're also understanding that life is this complicated web of occurrences, and time and space are things we exist in. And so by understanding that and taking the ego out of it, you're not going to be disappointed when things don't go your way, and you're not going to become arrogant or blinded when things do go your way. You know, you understand when something happens, it happened, and you're free to move on. It prevents you from getting caught on these metaphorical rocks and hung up and begrudging and resentful. It prevents all of that because you just know this is how it was and this is how it will be. And to remove that ego from your life relieves a huge amount of anxiety and uncertainty and anger and frustration and sadness. Because while things happen to you that suck, it happened. You can't dwell on that. You can't center your whole life around a regret. You know, maybe you wished you talked to that pretty girl in 7th grade, but it happened the way it happened. And there is no sense taking responsibility or fault for those things. They happened. We have to move on and accept them. We have to understand that these things will occur, and it doesn't mean that repercussions won't happen. It doesn't mean that justice won't be served in some cases, but it's this humility and humble understanding that you are just you. And there's nothing wrong with that. You are a beautiful part of the universe, but that doesn't mean you have to hold yourself in any way, shape, or form. It's a thing that allows you to exist. They often say like a Daoist, a really good Daoist is kind of boring and goes unnoticed because they're not interested in taking credit. They're not interested in blaming. They're not interested in any of that kind of thing. If you're in a group project with a bunch of people and it absolutely tanks, you know, maybe, hopefully you tried your best. Hopefully everyone else did, but it just comes out that way. Maybe the teacher wasn't feeling it. Maybe the ego of one kid ruined it all. Maybe the persistence of one saved it. And to understand that is to really breathe, let a breath out and go, this happened. And that is the persistence of Dao, because it will always happen. These things always happen. There's no getting over it. There's no accounting for it. There's no defeating the Dao. It is what it is, and we must react. And not reacting is also a choice. So I hope that helps. That might have confused you more. Apologies if it did. Feel free to read it again. The Pervasive Dao. It surrounds us all. It encompasses us all. There is no fighting it. There's no resisting it. There's no taking credit for it. There's no blaming it. It's just a thing. And I think that's very freeing. I know some people will hear that and kind of feel anxious and feel like, yeah, I have no control. But part of Taoism is realizing we don't have control. Part of it is accepting we don't have control, and we never will. And there will always be extenuating factors that we could not imagine, we could not see, nobody could. And when you have that kind of acceptance, you can face adversity and triumph in the most positive, productive way for your life. And it's not necessarily all about positivity and productivity, but I think it's always the best solution, is just when something hits you, it hits you. It'll go through you, might kill you, might keep you alive, might make you rich and famous, might make you sick, might make someone you love sick, might make someone you love disappear. But it's the way life unfolds. I know it's not like a hugely positive and happy and egotistical thing, but that's what the Tao is. It's not good, it's not bad, it is. Thank you for listening. If you have questions and thoughts, please let me know what you think. And as always, I will talk to you guys tomorrow.